one is WH question words. Look at the underlined words in the following sentences taken from the text. Why can't you speak to me? What shall I do now? What is your name, my man? The underlined words are called WH words. The other WH words are where, whom, which, when, how, and who. They are used to ask questions. So all these words, why, what, when, why, what, where, whom, which, when, how, who, these all words are question to ask questions. We are going to use these words, children. So read the following paragraph and make questions using appropriate WH words. The first one is done for you. Here they given a paragraph, and for this paragraph we have to answer. Here they given a passage, and for this passage we have to make questions. So the first one is example. Where are Dilip and Sindhu? Here, if you observe here, Dilip and Sindhu are in the class. So it is as an answer. For this answer, how we have to make questions? Where are Dilip and Sindhu? And in the second one, Sindhu is sitting in the front now. So here, how we will make the second question, children? So for every sentence, we can easily make a question mark. Sindhu is sitting in the front now. So for this, how we can make a question, children? Sindhu is sitting in the front now. For that, where is Sindhu sitting? Where is Sindhu sitting is a question for this sentence. So in the same way, you need to make questions for this paragraph. Write it in your notes yourself. And here in editing, read the following passage. There is an error in each sentence. Identify and edit it. Notice board. If you observe in the notice board, they given some sentences. In that we have to find out the mistaken one, and we need to correct it. Does not wash your hands in plates. So here does, it is not does, no, it is do. Do not wash your hands in plates is the correct one. Then please paying the bill before you leave. So it is, the paying is not in this way, no. So please pay. So here what it is? Pay. Then the third one is saw the menu card before you order. Here not sa, nana, it is see. See the menu card before you order. Then the be patient till the food are served. So food is served, nana, not are. Then food from outside is not allowed here. No, here no, not here. No is not. So here we have to write as a no. Letter carefully, you notice that it has 6 main components. So if you observe this letter, it has 6 main components. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is nothing but 6th one. So the first one is station and date. So if before going to write a letter, we have to know about these 6 things, Nana. It is must and should for every letter. And the first thing is station and date, from where we are writing, and the day and what date and we are writing that letter. We must mention that to the right side of our letter. And the second one is salutation, and for whom we are writing. If friends or this is an informal letter, children. For friends or for neighbors or for relatives, we can write in this form. And for formal letters, we can go with another salutation thing. Then this is the body of the letter, third one. So in this we can say our information regarding what and why we are writing that letter. And then the fourth one is fourth one is closing. And if you are writing to our friends or some others, yours lovingly. If in formal letters, we can use yours obediently, yours faithfully, like that. In informal letters, you can write as yours lovingly, yours, etc., your wish. And the fifth one is signature or description. Here you need to write here you can keep your signature or your name, etc. And the sixth one is address on the envelope. Here on the right side, you can write your name or signature, and on the address on the envelope, complete this letter with the address on the envelope with whom we are writing. to whom you are writing. Their address we should mention here, children, and in this format you have to write letter. Here, write a letter to your friend describing a place that you have visited recently. And here you observe letter clearly, no? So in the same way you can write a letter to your friend about what, children? By recently visited place. So by describing that you have to write a letter to your friend. So here the given editing. Rabindranath Tagore was one of the greatest poets of the 20th century. Here everything is correct, Nana. So I accept this smaller is not here. So we have to write it as a capital R. So in the same way, H is not small h, and we have to write here as a capital H. He was not only a great poet and artist but also a musician and a reformer. And in the same way, H is a capital H. We have to use after the full stop. We have to start a new sentence with the capital letter. So he was the first Indian to receive the Nobel Prize. So study skills, it is extracted from a newspaper, children, and here in this table we can observe the underlined words from that newspaper article. And for that, in the first one they give an example like meaning 1, meaning 2, meaning 3. From dictionary you can take these meanings, children, and in the same way the remaining things also you should see and write from your dictionary for the words, for the meanings of these words. So here, listening and speaking, here you can observe a picture and listen to the story The Clever Ramalinga and answer the following questions. So it is a story about The Clever Ramalinga, and you can read that story in the page number 134, children. You have to read yourself, and the story is, here it is a story of a poet Ramalinga in the court of Vijayanagara. He was a very clever man. He had many stories, and one of them we are going to know now. And his wife had lot of jewels. She used to wear them daily and remove them at night. Ramalinga had 2 servants. One day they wants to steal that jewels from the jewel box at night, and at the time of 11 o'clock in the night, the servants went to the bedroom and looked. Ramalinga's wife was not asleep, because Ramalinga said his wife loudly that his servants were near to us and there are many thieves in town and we should keep jewels safe. So and we keep them in a well box, jewels safe, and we keep the jewels box in a well by keeping them in a box. And while saying this, the servants heard his voice, and the servants thought that they can easily take them from the well. And the clever poet removed all jewels from the box and filled it with the stones and dropped that box in the well and said loudly, we are keeping that box in the well. So after they went back to their home along with his wife and Ramalinga, so his servants reached that well, and they are trying to take that box, from well, and further they draw all water from the well with ropes and buckets. It was very deep well. It became morning, and the servants thought that our master will get up, will go from here and continue it in the night again. But Ramalinga saw all this incident, and he called his servants and said, "Thank you for watering the garden, and no jewels in that box. You are thieves. Just get out from here." He shouted on them. So with this story we can say that Ramalinga was a very wise man. Choose the right option by writing A, B or C or D in the brackets provided. First one is Ramalinga's wife had lot of things. What were they? That is jewels, children. Second thing, where did Ramalinga's wife put the jewels at night? In a box, children. Then who watered the plant? Who watered the plants? Who watered the plants, children? The servants watered the plants. Then go with the second one. Listen to the story again. Say whether the following statements are true or false. Ramalinga dropped the box of jewels into the well. No, he dropped the box of stones. He removed the jewels and in that box he filled that box with the stones. So it is false, children. The servants began to draw the water out of the well. Yes, it is true. Then the third one is the servants came again on the next day. No. On the first day itself, they caught by Ramalinga. Then the fourth one is Ramalinga was angry with the servants. It is false, children. Then the fifth one is the servants lost their jobs. Yes, it is true. Here it is B reading. The Sheikh's white donkey. I was traveling across the desert with Sheikh Muhammad ibn Musa and his caravan of 90 camels and 19 men. The Sheikh was a dignified old man with fierce dark eyes and a white beard. He rode a large white donkey and his donkey was dignified too. The Sheikh treated him as a friend and an equal. They were almost always together all day. They slept in the same tent every night. I was carrying with me about 80 pieces of gold in a leather bag. I kept the bag in my tent at night and every morning I checked to see that the pieces of gold were safe. Every morning I checked to see that the pieces of gold were safe. On the ninth morning, the bag was not there. I went at once on to the Sheikh and complained to him about the loss of my bag. He sat in silence for a few minutes, stroking his beard. At last he said, "The caravan will not leave this camp today. Before evening comes, you will have your gold." After lunch, the Sheikh went into his tent and closed the flap of the tent behind him. After dinner, my host slowly came out of his tent and sent for me. He told me to sit up near him in front of his tent. Then he said, "Bring me the men." All his men stood in a row in front of him. When all the men were there, the Sheikh spoke. "Today some trouble has come to my guest, this traveler. Someone has stolen his bag of gold. Stealing is a crime, and to steal from a guest is 7 times worse. As no one from outside has been near our camp. The man who stole the bag is standing before me now. He thinks he can hide his crime, but I can find him out with the help of my wonderful donkey. My white donkey," he continued, is not an ordinary one. He is a wise animal. My donkey cannot speak our language, but I can understand his language. He will soon tell me who stole your bag." Then he looked at his men and said, "Now I order each of you to go into the tent alone, close the flap and tent so that no one can see you except the donkey and God. Pull my donkey's tail. When an innocent hand touches his tail, he will be silent. But when the hand of the thief touches his tail, the donkey will speak to us all in his language. We will take the thief and kill him without mercy." As soon as he finished, he ordered the last man in the row to go into the tent first. He went in and came out. All the others went in and came out. Nothing happened. I thought that the donkey was not so wise after all. But Muhammad ibn Musa said to me quietly, "Don't worry, it is all right. You will get your gold soon." I wonder how. Musa asked all his men to stand in a line. "Hold your hands in front of you with the palms up," he shouted. Each man held out his hands. The Sheikh then walked slowly to the row. He bent down and laid his face on the palms of each one's hands. I was amazed when he did this again and again. He came to the 12th man and laid his face on the man's palms. Suddenly he lifted his face, pulled out his sword and shouted, you dirty thief, get that gold or I will kill you at once." The man fell on his feet, begging for mercy. Then he jumped up and ran outside the circle of camels. He pulled up the stone and came back with my leather bag of gold. "Give it to the traveler," shouted the Sheikh. The man put the bag into my hands and I found that all the 80 pieces were in it. Then the sheikh ordered 2 men to beat the thief. After a minute, I begged. The man put the bag into my hands and I found that all the 80 pieces were in it. Then the sheikh ordered 2 men to beat the thief. After a minute, I begged mercy for him, and at my host's command, the men let him go. I was eager to know how the sheikh found the thief. The next day, I asked him to explain. He looked at me and said, "You must not tell my men." Suddenly not. I said, "Well, yesterday when I was in the tent, I took some mint and put it in water. When the water began to smell like mint, I put the donkey's tail into the water. The tail too smelled like mint. That evening, you remember, each man went into the tent and pulled the donkey's tail. All of them except the thief pulled the tail. His hand alone had no smell of mint upon it. I was all in price for the sheikh's wisdom." And here it is a story about a traveler and a sheikh while traveling across the desert with Sheikh Muhammad ibn Musa with his caravan of 90 camels and 19 men with a white donkey, and he had a white donkey. It was also dignified. The sheikh treated the donkey as a good friend. They slept in a same tent every night. I had 80, and here I means the traveler, he had 80 pieces of gold in a leather bag, and every night and in every morning he used to check that bag and count them clearly. One day he missed his bag and he went to the sheikh and complained about his bag. Then the sheikh called out all his men and said to stand them in a line. And he said with them that the white donkey was not a normal one. It is a wise one. It is a wise animal. The sheikh said with the all men, and one by one they should go inside and of the tent, and they should touch the tail of the donkey. The donkey will accept the innocent one, but not the thief. It will convey in his language to me. And after came from there, the sheikh ordered them to show their palms, and he checked their palms and caught thief. The traveler was surprised with that, and the thief returned the bag of gold to the traveler. Finally, the traveler asked sheikh, "And how you caused the thief exactly?" Then he replied that he applied mint water to the tail of donkey before night. So if everyone touches it, meets their hands with the smell. So I catched him easily. So, and the traveler praised for sheikh's wisdom.